prepare for home ownership, different things that are going on, and the best ways that you can maximize your efforts in trying to buy a home. I know right now a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about what you should be doing. You might have a lot of people saying things like, oh, it costs too much. If it doesn't cost too much, then the complaint is the interest rates are high. If the interest rates aren't high, then it's just always something. You know what I mean? So ideally, my focus today is to help you so that you can not only understand the home buying process, but so you can also make the best decision based off where you want to be with the time frame that you have in mind for your goals. So we're going to go ahead and share. Uh, that's what we'll do. Okay. Can everybody hear me okay? And you can,
Yes.
okay, awesome. All right. Now we're going to share this and hopefully she's going to do what she did. Everybody can see my screen okay?
Yes.
All right. All right. So if you have any questions, if you don't want to raise your hand, then you can put it in the chat. If you do, just let me know. We'll still get you done. Okay. So today we're going to discuss different steps that you can take to become a homeowner. It can seem daunting, but it's not. Trust me, it's not as bad as it seems. My name is Shannon, and I have had my fair share of lemons. When I tell people that I have experienced every financial hardship known to man, I am. Wait, wait, please. Sorry, I appreciate that. Wait, I have children and I am somebody's mother. So um, sometimes, they still want to come and tell me good night. They still have to prepare for bed. So as I was about to say, I'm a wife and a mom, and I'm a gifted problem solver. I'm a licensed realtor here in the state of Delaware, and it's my focus to help more people become homeowners. Um, because I remember what it was like when we were trying to prepare for home ownership. It was hard and we didn't always know what to do. We didn't always know what was going on, but we were doing the best that we could with what we had. All right. All right. What does that look like? So I've been featured on different things like Yahoo. I'm an EXP realtor. I've been featured on The Balance and different podcasts to teach the same information that I'm going to be sharing with you today. I'm also considered a financial literacy expert, but none of this really matters to you if I can't help you understand the home buying process. So if you're here today, you're probably here because you're scared that you'll be denied for a mortgage. Might not have ever applied, but you're nervous about applying for a home. Maybe you're ready to buy, but you're not sure if you have the money or the credit score to help you purchase a house. It can be hard if you don't know what you're doing while you're trying to purchase a house. All right. Maybe your rent is high and you don't like how high your mortgage payment is, right? Maybe it's not working for you anymore. You don't want to keep paying somebody else's mortgage. or you don't know anything about the home buying process and you're hoping to be able to walk away with something today to help you have a better understanding. So I was right where you were. In 2010, I found myself in an impossible situation with my family. We were pregnant with our second child and we were about to be evicted a week before I gave birth. Thankfully, we were blessed to be able to move into a shared housing type of situation. This was me shortly after having the baby. And fast forward 11 months, we were able to purchase our first house. So we got the house, which is where we live today. And within 4 years, we had our last son. And I got a job where I made 2.5 times what I was making before. And I was like, yes, perfect. We are finally out of this space where everything that could go wrong is going wrong. And that wasn't it. I lost that job. I was laid off within a week, and I had to come up with something that I could do, that I could teach, that I knew. So after waiting 2 months of trying to find a job, I decided that it was time to make some changes. And what I did is I started to utilize what I knew from being a housing counselor. I started to implement some of the things that I had taken in from taking different classes. I became more financially literate and I started investing in utilizing the things that I was learning over time that I was afraid to implement because I don't know. I just thought it wouldn't work. I don't know. And when I started to implement these things, I had changes, right? I started to notice that I was reaching the different goals that I wanted to reach. So I just want you to know that if you are trying to become a homeowner this year, you're in the right place. If you don't believe it for yourself, I believe it for you. There's never a person that I meet that I don't believe can be a home buyer. So some of the things that we're going to cover today are going to be the steps to successfully qualify for a home, ways to save money and build credit as a home owner or a home buyer, steps to make sure that you don't get scammed because a lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, I want to buy a house, but I'm afraid that I'm going to get scammed. We're going to cover that as well as different programs and any questions that you might have in the home buying process. All right. All right. So, what documents do I need to qualify for a home? Well, we're trying to qualify for a house. They're going to ask for a lot and it's going to feel like it's overwhelming, and I say this a lot because I can remember that my lender asked me for one packet or a bank statement and I cried. So it's normal to have to submit a lot of documents. So these are the documents that you would need if you are not self-employed. If you are a W-2 employee, you're going to need 30 days worth of pay stubs. If you're paid every week, you're going to need enough to take you through a week. If you're paid twice a month, you're going to need two pay stubs. If you're paid every other week and it's 3 pay periods in that month, you're going to need all three. Okay. Um, if you're a 1099 employee, maybe you're a contractor, you'll need that proof plus whatever your pay information is. And then, of course, if you're self employed, you're going to need your profit and loss and the different information to show how much you've made through the year and previous years. You'll need 2 years or 24 months worth of your most recent tax returns. So, for instance, right now we are in February. We are not to the cutoff for this year where you have to have your taxes done. So, you can include the taxes that you did last year and the year previous to that. Now, if it were after April, then they would want this year's taxes. You'll also need 60 days of your most recent bank statements. I tell people if there's 5 pages and page 5 is left blank, still provide it. Now, I have recently had it happen where a person wasn't getting their bank statements as an e-statement, they were getting them mailed. So if you're a person who doesn't use the banking system by email, then you'll just have to pick them up from your local bank. You'll need a copy of your ID. And if you choose to use child support, alimony, disability, or SSI, you'll need proof of that. Do we have any questions? All right. So You will need that information to get a pre-approval. You will want to get a pre-approval because it's going to do three things. It's going to help the agent know the type of house and loan type that you have. It's going to help you know how much house you can afford, and it's going to save you time. What you don't want to happen is when you're ready to purchase a house, you don't want to see the house of your dreams and then have to wait however long it takes you to get the information that I just said together, plus have the lender go through it to get a pre-approval. The pre-approval process itself doesn't take very long. I found that it's usually just gathering the information. Okay, so you'll want to have a pre-approval because you'll know that you know how much money you can qualify for. You'll know if the house that you see is a house that your financing will allow, and it's just going to save you time. So that's going to be different than getting pre-qualified, where pre-qualification is just them asking you questions. So with the pre-approval, you're going to submit paperwork. With the pre-qualification, it's just going to be more of a verbal kind of conversation. Or your realtor will pre-qualify you, the lender will pre-approve you because your realtor is usually going to ask you qualifying questions where the lender is going to have the documentation. Now, how much do I need out of pocket to purchase? How much money do you guys think you need out of pocket to purchase? Let me know in the comments. What do you think it's going to look like? Or you can tell me, whichever. Y'all don't want to talk to me? No, no friends today.
James said $10,000.
I like James. James talks to me. Thank you, James.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate you. James is almost right on the money, too. Oh, yeah. I had 8, but 10 does it too. Here's why. I say at least 8, no matter how much money or no matter how much the house is that you're going to buy, because you're going to have to pay for out-of-pocket costs, which is what we might call earnest fees. Okay. You're going to have, that's going to be like inspections, tests, the deposit when you submit the offer. And although the appraisal, which is what tells you the value of the house, is considered a closing cost, it can also be an out of pocket cost. So we've calculated about 8 grand for that. All right. When you're qualifying for a house, the credit score is what qualifies you. The amount of money you make compared to your debt determines how much house you'll get. So your credit score is what qualifies you. How much debt and how much income you have is what determines how much house you get. When they're pulling your credit, they're looking at the mid score. This is the credit score that falls in the middle. You have credit scores from TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. So whichever number falls in the middle of those 3 scores is the number that they're going to use for your credit score. Now, here's another question. Whose score does the lender use if there's 2 of you on the loan? Y'all gonna talk to me today. Y'all gonna talk to me. How much? Okay, there we go. We got somebody in the chat. Highest. Okay. No, not the highest. I thought that too. It's not the highest. So the lender is going to use whoever score is the lowest. So if I have a 700 and you have a 580, they're going to use your 580. So you'll want to make sure that if it's going to be more than one of you on the loan, that everybody has strong finances. Now we're going to talk about 3 different loan types, or 4, but we're going to focus on 3. So the first one is going to be FHA. FHA is Fair Housing Administration, and this is going to be the loan type that's going to overlook more credit blemishes. So if your credit score is not as strong, the FHA mortgage is going to be the ideal mortgage for you. I said this on my TikTok. You can qualify for a house with a 500 credit score, but you'll have to put 10% down. Whereas if you have at least a 580, then you only have to put down $3,500 per 100,000. Now, FHA will, as I said, You don't have to have that strong of a credit score, but you do have to put money out of pocket. So if you see a home that's $300,000, it's going to be about $10,000 out of pocket for the down payment. Any questions? The next loan type is going to be USDA. USDA is the United States Department of Agriculture, okay? And it's going to say that, hey, we don't, we're going to give you more of the money for you to purchase the house, but in exchange for us giving you more of the money, you're going to need a stronger credit score. And that's going to need to be like 620-ish, 640. And I put 640 because that's when home buyer programs kick in most states and in most cases. USDA is going to be determined off of the address of where you're going to purchase the home. So, for instance, in the state of Delaware, Sussex County and Kent County, pretty much a lot of it can qualify for USDA. However, Newcastle County may not because Newcastle is not as rural as we are. Another loan type is the VA loan. VA loans are going to be for veterans. Any veterans in the room, y'all can let me know in the chat. These loans, you don't have to put down any money. Conventional loans. These are loans that your grandparents might have used, your parents might have used, where you had to put down anywhere from $3,000 to $20,000 if it was 20% down. We don't have to do this anymore. We do not have to do this anymore. They have more programs that require less down payments because that's just the world that we live in now. Okay. With this one, you need at least a 660 middle score. Now, we're going to give an example of what it could look like for you to have a stronger credit score, or if you opt to just kind of go for it with a 580 or whatever you have going on. Now, these numbers are going to be based on if it's a $300,000 house. I have found that in our area, the typical cost for a house, whether you believe it or not, well, actually, let me ask y'all, what do you think the average cost is for a house in our area right now, or in your area? Yeah, in our area, because we're all from the same place. What do you think that is right now? Y'all can let me know in the chat or you can say.
I think 275,000.
Okay. That's a good guess. That's a good guess. It's actually like 298, 298,000. So the houses are being listed for more. Like the sellers are listing them for more, but they're actually selling for 298. That's the average for this side of the county. Laurel, Delmar, Seaford, Woodbridge school districts. Okay. So if you have a 580 credit score, then you're going to probably put down anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 for a deposit. This is what you would put when you see a house. Okay. Oh, I like this house. I think this is something that I want to do. Shannon, I found the house. This is it. We're going to say, great. Before we do the offer, we're going to need to make sure that you have $1,000 to $3,000 for you to submit with this home. And you'll say, great, I got that. Then once we're under contract, we'll need about 1,200. It could be more or less depending on how many inspections you have to have, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the workshop. You'll need $1,200 for that. And if you have to do the down payment, which we just discussed was 3.5% for a $300,000 house, that's $10,500. And then you have something that we call closing costs. These are going to be costs that are associated with closing a loan. So attorney's fees, surveys, title work, meaning the things that they're going to check for to make sure that you can have free ownership of the house, that there's not an uncle who's locked up or who moved away to Alaska who still has ownership of the house and his brothers and sisters sold the house behind his back. All right. That total is anywhere from $22,000 to $26,000. I want y'all to remember that number. Okay. 22, 26,000. Compared to if I have a better credit scenario. This means that I have taken the time to get my credit to at least a 640 or better. Okay. So I'm still going to put down the $1,000 to $3,000 for the deposit. That doesn't change. I'm still going to have the same amount for the inspections, but you'll notice here that instead of us having $10,500 for the down payment, we have what? Zero. Settle. So we don't have that, and then we still have the closing costs. Closing costs are not going to really go away. Those are things that can be negotiated. Sometimes you get some sellers or builders that are still willing to contribute to closing costs. Don't bet on that, but know that that's an option. Okay. Now the total for that is $10,200 to $12,220. Which one would you rather do? Do you guys want to spend $22,000 or 10? You tell me. I'd rather spend 10. Okay. So I'm going to take the time that it takes to work on my credit and save $10,000 because it might only take me a couple months. It might only require me to do a couple things to improve my credit so that I can purchase my home. FHA, USDA, VA homes must be livable and they have to pass a financial appraisal. I touched on it a little bit earlier. An appraisal is what tells you the value of a home, where conventional loans are a little more lenient. So if you have the dream of having a farmhouse that you want to be able to renovate, you're going to probably go for like a conventional loan, or they have a loan type that will allow you to do the renovations on the house and finance it into the cost of the house. That's a conversation for a different day. Okay. So remember that your home loan, your lender is going to use the mid score for your FICO credit score. They are not going to use the credit score that you see on Credit Karma. Does anybody know the difference between FICO scores and Credit Karma scores? I see somebody talking, but I can't hear them. So Credit Karma scores and FICO scores are different because FICO score is just one model, and that's the model that all the lenders are using right now until the end of the year. Um, Word is, and this has been coming up the pipeline for about 3 years now, but they're supposed to start allowing Credit Karma scores or what are called Vantage scores to count in home buying. So that's exciting because it gives you another method to prepare for home ownership. Would you all say on a scale from 1 to 10, you can let me know in the chat, how are you feeling about understanding credit and income requirements for home ownership? Do you feel like, yes, I got it, I have a clear understanding of what I got to do? Or are you like, nope, still don't, where are we at? Scale 1 to 10. A 5. Okay. So the 5, I want you to write your questions so that when we get to the end of the home buyer workshop, you can ask them because we want you to at least come up to a 7 or 8. Okay. All right. And 8's got some good ones here. Okay. So this is a person who came to us and she needed some assistance with purchasing a house. She wanted to get some things done. She felt like that I provided her with good, knowledgeable, friendly, upfront services. She felt like I was trustworthy from start to finish. She said I guided her through the process of helping her successfully purchase a home. And it just makes my heart smile when I see home buyers because it makes a difference, when you can go into something and you're like, this is mine. And you don't have to worry about somebody coming and knocking on your door unless it's because you invited them or they want some smoke. but but to each his own. So actually right here is where we have the questions and your thoughts. So for the 5, if you don't mind putting in the chat what questions or even unmuting yourself and we can answer your question that you have about finances. While you're getting that together, I'm going to go ahead to the next slide, but I do want you to at least put it here in the chat what your questions are, or you can have them prepare for the next question break that we have. And we're actually halfway there. So I want you guys to understand, and I want you to have a clear picture of what makes a mortgage payment. A mortgage payment is made up of different parts. So when you borrow money to purchase a house, you have principal. Okay. This is principal is the whole amount that you borrow, right? Then you have to pay interest. Interest is the cost that you have to pay to borrow money because there's always a cost to borrow. Okay. The third part of a mortgage payment is going to be made up of taxes. So whether you live in a county or you live in the city, you're going to have taxes. Those taxes are going to look different based off your location. Okay. There's no way to say that every tax for every city is going to be this and every tax for everything is going to be that, because it's just contingent on what the city does and what the county is doing, the school districts and things of that nature. Okay. You have insurance. You have mortgage insurance and you have homeowners insurance. Mortgage insurance is going to cover you if something happens and you can't pay your mortgage. And then homeowners insurance is what covers your home in the event of like fire, theft, water damage. We've been in our house for 12 years and we actually just had our first home insurance claim. So things happen. We went on a trip, we came back, we had a mold spot in our ceiling. And it was because our air conditioning backed up or it was clogged up and we didn't know. We were gone. We had went out of the country for like a week and we came back and that's what we came home to. So these are things that are required for a mortgage payment. You're not going to work around paying principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Now you can work around paying an assessment because you don't have to buy a house that has to pay HOAs. HOAs are homeowners association fees. Sometimes communities will require you to pay homeowners association fees if it's like a development. And what those association fees will typically cover, it could be like a clubhouse, it might be lawn maintenance, it could be snow removal, it could be electricity for the street lights, it could be trash removal, it could be any variety of things. It could be nothing, anything. It could be just maintaining the road. You'll know if you're going to find a house that's going to be in development, it's a 50-60% chance it's going to have HOA. All HOAs aren't bad. Everybody has mixed reviews or feelings about them. To each his own. If you want to know more about it, if you see a house that you like and it has HOA fees, just ask for an HOA report and any realtor will be able to get it for you and you can read it and you can decide if that's something that you like or don't like. That's what I would tell people. All right. So when people come to me and they're talking about their mortgage payment and they're like, Shannon, I want to spend $1,000 on my mortgage. What that means when you look at the numbers is that you want to pay about $140,000 for a home. Now, we just agreed as a group that the average cost of a home is about, we had a guess of 275 and we found it to be right close to that at 298,000. So is $1,000 mortgage payment realistic to the average cost of houses in this area? It's not. But I don't want you to be afraid to purchase a home. This just means that we're going to have to get resourceful, right? You're going to have to think about it in a different kind of way. So you might be thinking, all right, Shannon, I make X amount of dollars. I make $20 an hour, I make $15 an hour, I make $30 an hour, whatever it is that we make. How much house can I get? I can't tell you how much house you can get because I'm not a lender. But what I can tell you is that your mortgage payment should be less than or right around 28 to 31% of whatever your take home pay is. So for easy math, if you brought home $1,000 a month, and we know that this is likely not true, but it could be true for somebody. If you bring home $1,000 a month, then that means that your mortgage payment would be between $280 and $310. This is just little math, okay? So look at what's on the market. I want you guys, like when you get out off of here, and I'm sure you guys are already doing this. So go on realtor.com, go on Zillow, go to my website, my EXP website, look at the different houses. And you tell me if you feel like that with what I said, that it's realistic for what you want. If it is, great. If not, then it's okay. I'm going to teach you a test and I'm going to teach you some things that you can do to kind of see what works. Okay. So when you are looking at, the websites, you're looking at the ones, and if I'm honest, like I don't get paid by any of them except for EXP, but that's because that's my brokerage that I'm under. Zillow is friendly. It's easy to look at. I'm not such a big fan of realtor.com, but that's just because I feel like it looks old. Or you can download my app that I have from my website and you can see the different houses that are available. So when we do that, I want you to see what's out there, and I want you to have like a list. I want you to make a list of what you want and what you need. And when you're going over your list of your wants and needs, your wants are going to be things that make living more comfortable. Your needs are going to be what you most absolutely must have. So if you have a family of five, you need at least a three bedroom. You can't make a one bedroom work with a family of five. I mean, I imagine you could, but you shouldn't have to. But that's a thing that you have to evaluate. Um, you might, and I'll use myself as an example. When we first purchased our house, I did not want to live in Seaford. I did not want a two-story house. I did not want to be in a particular area, and I wanted an acre. I do not have an acre. I live in the area that I said I didn't want to. I have a two-story house because all of these things were not they weren't deal breakers. They were just things that I didn't want. A deal breaker for me would have been if the tub was next to the toilet. I didn't want my tub right next to the toilet. That was a thing for me. Everybody's different, okay? So yeah, I want you to make sure that you understand the difference between your wants and needs, what your deal breakers are, and the things that you can deal with, okay? I want you to decide if whatever home you're going to buy is going to be your forever home or if it's going to be your right now home. And I would say realistically, a right now home could be anywhere from like 5 to 12 years because again, when we purchased our house, I was like, oh, we'll be here for like 5 years. It's been 12. Okay. And life changes, things change. Okay. So, have that conversation with anybody who's a decision maker. Make these lists together. Okay. Um, the next thing that I want you to do is I want you, if you are here today, I am going to provide you with a monthly market update. And if you or watch this replay, then you can request a monthly market update. And what that's going to do is help you understand what houses are going for in the area that you want to live in. So if you want to live in Bethel, then I would send you a market update for Bethel. And that way you could get an idea what home costs look like. When you're making your wants and your needs list, again, I just want you to be realistic. And especially if you're going to work with me, and I'd love to help anybody who I can, then we're going to also set you up for a save search, which is going to take into consideration the needs that you have. So we're going to send you houses and set up a search. That's exactly what you're looking for. All right. And, I want you to, again, be realistic. We're going to help you make a plan to address anything that could prevent you from achieving what it is that you want to do. Because if you shoot at nothing, you'll make it every time. But if you have a plan for where you want to be, then we can help you create the steps to get there. All right, so I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to go ahead and go back to the chat and I'm going to answer this question. I don't really have any question. I just need a coach. I'm slowly working on my credit. Okay, so with credit, you have to decide if you want to do it yourself or if you want to pay somebody to do it. And usually, what that's going to determine is if you want to do it slow and do more, or if you want to do it fast and do less. So if you want to do it slow, then yeah, then the do it yourself option might be the option to go through either, getting instructions, whether it be through a class or some DIY software, which we have both, or if you want to do it a little quicker and not have to worry about the time that it might take, you might pay a little bit more, but you can always pay a company to do it, which we can also help with as well. And for us, it's self-service, so you choose which plan you want to do based off what you need, and we keep ours pretty straight, but we'll talk about that a little later as well. All right. All right. Now, because we teach this all the time, this woman purchased this house here. So this woman in this picture purchased this house here. And she was like, thank you so much for sharing everything that you've done, watching the videos, doing some research. She got pre-approved and she was able to purchase this house. So what I'm teaching you today, it works if you do. All right. So this is one of the last things that we're gonna like do that's like a taught thing that I would like for you to kind of grasp. And this is the steps that it's gonna take for you to learn how to make sure that you can afford a mortgage that you think you want. All right. So I'm gonna teach you the steps to test your mortgage. And this is really easy. At least to me, it's really easy. So I want you, and you can screenshot this picture. I know I said I'm not giving out a handout, but you can screenshot this. So I want you to take the idea of whatever you think your dream mortgage is. I'm going to use, somebody give me a number that's easy, a nice round number. Dream mortgage. You can put it in the chat or you can say it. Give me a number. What mortgage dream? What do we think we can afford? What do we want to do?
Like 950.
950. Okay. The next one, I think I need to write that a little bit bigger. The next one that we're going to do is I want you to tell me what your current, like give me the idea of what you think rent is right now. How much is rent?
At least like $1,400.
Okay, well, James,
So high.
you, sir, effectively work backwards. So I'm gonna add a 1 in front of this 9 because I need the numbers to make sense. I'm gonna show you in a second why. So you said 1,400.
Yeah.
All right. So if your current mortgage or your current rent is 1,400, I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm trying, y'all. So if your mortgage or if your rent is $1,400 and your dream mortgage is 1950, and we're doing this for math's sake, the difference between 1950 and 1,400 is $550, right?
Mm-hmm.
Said 950.
Yeah, but she's trying to subtract the dream mortgage from the current.
Yeah, I need the numbers to make sense because if I use 950 subtracted from 1,400, then that's going to give me negative 500, and that's not going to work because I can't have y'all save negative $500.
Never.
Like never is that going to ever work. Okay, so when you do that, yeah, y'all can't see that. I just saw the replay. So the difference between the two is 550. What I would say is that if your dream mortgage is 1950 and your current rent is 1,400 and the difference between the two is 550, if you can save that $550 for 6 months, then you can probably afford a mortgage payment for $1,950. If you cannot save $550 a month, then it means that you might need to reevaluate the amount of money that you want to pay for a mortgage. And right now, I believe interest rates are right between like 6 and 7-ish. Because a lot of times, if you're going to use home buyer programs, they're going to have a higher interest rate than a regular one. So, at the cost of what, homes are today, you're looking closer to 2,000 or more, right around for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Okay, with the interest rates as they are today. But if you save the 550, the point of this is if you save the 550, then that's going to save you at least $3,000 or $4,000. That's going to help with your out-of-pocket costs, and it's going to get you used to saving the money for a mortgage. If you don't save it, you're not going to miss anything because you haven't purchased the house yet. But if you do save it, then it helps you with saving your money and it gets your mind set to go with what it's going to be like when you own a home. Did that exercise make sense? Because I feel like James was looking at the computer screen like, no, no, it didn't.
No, I didn't even know it was on mute. Yeah, it makes sense now.
Okay, I'm just teasing. So again, this is going to help you save towards your upfront costs. It's going to prepare you for paying your gold mortgage. And if you couple this with a credit builder loan, then you'll have more in the end because you'll have interest. So that's something that I like to share with you guys as a tidbit. So everybody got along with that good. So one of the last steps of the home buying process, or even just understanding the home buying process, is making sure that you don't buy a bad house. We make sure that you don't buy a bad house by getting a home inspection. You want to make sure that it's from a licensed and insured home and insured home inspector, licensed and insured home inspector. I can't get my words together. Okay. And when you get them, they're going to do structural and mechanical. Good Lord. they are not going to cut a hole in the wall or anything, but they are going to run the dishwasher, the heating unit. They'll run the air conditioning if it's not too cold. If it's below 35 degrees, they're not running it. They'll do a water test. They're going to go up if there's an attic space. They're going to go on the crawl space. They're going to go on the roof if it's accessible. So these are different things that they're going to look for. When they do that, in our state, I can't speak for any other state, but there's 3 things that's going to happen when they do this home inspection. They're going to do the home inspection, then they're going to get a list together. This list is going to have 3 different suggestions. It's going to say, hey, everything looks good. This is great. It checked out. It's going to have one that says, hey, this isn't exactly a problem, but this is a minor thing that I want you to pay attention to. It could be towards the end of its life because everything has a life. A dishwasher has a length of time. A refrigerator has a length of time. A hot water heater has a length of time that it's going to last, okay? So just keep an eye out on it. And then you have a major issue. And a major issue is going to be something that's a concern for safety or function. If it is a major concern in our state, then you have the option. The contract says that you can ask the seller to address the major. They can choose if that's what they want to do. Okay? So that's something to keep in mind when you're ready to buy. Now, oftentimes, you can get a seller who's like, yeah, we'll fix everything. You might get a seller who's like, nope, not fixing anything. And you might get a seller who's like, you're getting this as is, how it is. That's just, this is just something that happens. It happens in the process. Are there workarounds to that? Or are there different things that can come up from that? Yes. But is that something that does happen? Yes. Do you have any questions about the home inspection process? Ooh. Okay. All right. So all loan types can fund different types of homes. Okay. And I'm here to help you to figure it out. If you are in need of a realtor and you want to work with me, when you work with me, what you can expect to receive is I know the market. Okay. I understand how it moves. I'm going to help you negotiate, help you maintain and monitor dates and deadlines so that you stay within the terms of your contract. And I would be a part of your real estate team to make sure that we navigate through everything. I feel like that I had a slide that's out of place here, and I did. So if you're looking for an agent and you want somebody to work with, this is what I would give you in exchange for my services. I provide full services. Okay. Every agent is slightly different. You can make sure that you're not being scammed in the home buying process because now there's something that we have that is a requirement for our area now that wasn't always a requirement called a buyer broker agreement and or a buyer's representation agreement, which assures the relationship between the realtor is legit with the home buyer and it lets the home buyer know what to expect when they're working with a realtor. If you do not sign, and this isn't like a threat, like if you don't sign it, grr, no, but if you don't sign a buyer representation agreement, you don't have anybody working with your best interest. Because the only person who would have signed an agreement is the seller's agent. Okay. And you want someone who's working within your best interest. Buyer's representation agreement is usually going to, as it says, lay out what you can expect from your realtor, what your expectations are, as well as any costs associated with working with an agent. All right. And of course, at the very top of or the end of this, you always have an attorney, at least in our state, who's going to make sure that everything is moving smoothly. So they're going to handle all the settlement monies. They're going to coordinate your survey, your title search, which we talked on a little bit earlier, your contract review. They're going to make sure that everything with closing is going to where it is supposed to go. Average closing takes about 30 days. If you have home buyer programs, it's going to take a little bit longer because they have to go through more than one process to get approved. Okay. And not in all cases, just some. So that's what you can expect. Some states have title companies that do everything, but in our state, we have an attorney state. So you're either going to be an attorney state or escrow state. Delaware is an attorney state. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. But you don't want to skip on an agent or having a attorney because the attorney is going to represent you legally. Okay. So if you are looking for help with an agent and you feel like, hey, Shannon, I think my credit's together, I have my money saved, I think that this is something I want to do, then you can email me at shannon.l.payton@exprealty.com. I do check that email pretty regularly. If for some reason I don't respond within 24 hours, give me time. I still will respond to you at some point. All right. And not saying like that's at some point as if it's going to take forever. That's not what that means. But I do check it twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, but definitely every morning. All right. Now, if you're like, Shannon, I heard all that and I think I need help with my credit, that's okay. We can help you with your credit. We currently offer credit done for you credit repair services, which can help in different varieties of ways. As I said, we have 3 different program levels that you can choose from. And if you think that that's something that you're interested in, then you can email me to the same email address um, to get the assistance that you need for credit. So, as a recap, you know, you might have to pay out of pocket commissions to your agent because of the buyer representation agreement. If you buy a house, you can get a home warranty to help with repairs or areas of concern. And when you work with a realtor, they can show you any house that's listed on the market, not just certain ones. So if you see a house and it's with eXp Realty, I can show you that. If you see one with Century 21, I can show you that. If you see one with Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, whoever it might be with, we can show it. ABC Realtor Company. It doesn't matter. We can show you the different ones that are available. We're going to go ahead and take some questions. You can screenshot this. If you want to catch me, this is actually going to be, it's shannon.l.payton. But this is how you can find me. I'm on TikTok, Facebook. I'm on Instagram, but I'm not a fan. And I'm on YouTube. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and let y'all screenshot this. If you want to be able to access me, my website is below at shannonpayton.exprealty.com. And you can follow me there. And I want to give you guys a thank you for joining me today. So I am going to be giving you our home buyer workshop. So I'm going to go ahead, not workshop, our home buyer packet. If I can get it do right, I'm going to go ahead and upload it into the chat. And if you are in the Zoom, then you will have access to it. That is my thank you for you being here with me today and spending this time with me at this hour. I'm not sure if I'll do it this late again because I'm feeling a little beat up and I feel like I'm a little slow. Thank you, YouTube world. We're going to go ahead and close out of you and we're going to take questions.